award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We are on location today with Commissioner Jimmy Granbery at his farm. So we're happy to be here, happy to be outside. The weather's nice today.
Oh, man, it is gorgeous.
Mr. Don King's helping me co-host.
Yes. Hey, good to be here, and we appreciate the invitation to come down.
No problem. Yeah, welcome to my little piece of heaven.
Man, I can see why you like it out here.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It really is.
This is awesome. Yeah, we were just chatting, and we'll get into a few more details about the farm here maybe while we're on the show. But it's got everything. I mean, he's got some sunflowers growing back here. I think you're ready for dove season.
I'm getting ready for dove season. Yes, sir.
So anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a fun show. But first, I wanted to mention that we've been selling hats, right, Don? And
I'll model this one here.
There you go.
Yeah, we got the blue one. That's the current model.
Right.
Blue hat. And
we've had brown ones and other brown ones and the mesh back and things like that. But now we have the official store is online. Shop.gooutdoorstennessee.com will take you there. And there's a camo hat available now, some buffs. We're selling the calendar, so all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, and I bought a bunch of the brown ones, but now we're sold out of the brown ones. But first person that texts me when they see the show on the WildCast, I'll send them a free hat.
Oh, there you go.
How about that?
Right.
Perfect.
We'll make sure you got to watch the show, though.
I like that idea.
Are we going to post your number?
615. Yeah. Email me at the agency.
There you go.
That's probably better.
There you go. All right, cool. That's awesome. Thanks for throwing that in.
Don't want to give your cell phone out, especially being a commissioner. They be calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning that something's not right. So,
yeah. I'm sure you get many calls, and that's what you're there for.
Absolutely. And I encourage people to call and email, and it's what we're here for. Yeah.
Public input. It's so important. I know we encourage it, through the website, Ask TWRA, and comment on, various hunting seasons and fishing regulations and things like that.
Absolutely. I had a guy call me and left a voicemail, and I called him back, and he was like stunned. He said, well, what are you calling me back for? I said, well, you called me and asked me to call you back. It's like I'm not supposed to call you back.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the role of the commissioner is.
Absolutely.
You're there for your region, or if you're statewide, or if you're district.
It was a local in one of my counties, so that was great. I'm statewide,
Mm-hmm. So anyway, thanks for inviting us out to the farm. Tell us about your place here. It's beautiful.
Well, it's a little piece of heaven. We got 300 acres, and we got Jones Creek off to my left, and full of smallmouth and rockfish, and we got a lot of natural streams running into the big creek, and I got some steers, I got some donkeys, I got turkey, I got deer, I got bald eagles. I mean, bluebirds, hummingbirds, you name it, we got it. So snakes, possums, skunks.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything. A lot of woods, a lot of open fields, so it's a little bit everything wildlife, which is great.
Awesome. I think it's beautiful. I love a place like this. It's
we saw deer and turkeys both coming in.
Right, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, a couple of fawns running through the
there's
the road
a couple of
there.
twins up the top of the hill.
I think we saw them. That's what we saw coming in. Awesome. So I guess my first question what's it like being a commissioner? What's it like to be on that panel up in front of everybody every month and discuss things that we're doing as an agency?
I knew a lot about the agency before I became a commissioner. I've got a lot of friends, two real close friends, Earl Bentz and Ray Bell, who were commissioners. And, but I had no idea the depth of what it really involved and how much the agency does statewide, just across the board. It's just not hunting and fishing and boating. It's, the hatcheries, the conservation and all the stuff that the agency does.
Right.
And, 700 or 800 employees, statewide. And every time, just recently there was a helicopter crash in Knoxville, and there were the TWRA guys front and center as part of the rescue.
Right.
So it's just so vast in what we do, and the size of the budget. It just, it was overwhelming, and it's taken me a year and a half to really get my arms around the whole whole system and what we still learning. I mean, I'll be learning until I roll off in 5.5 years, 4.5 years actually.
Yeah, so you've been, like you said, been on a year and a half now.
It's a 6-year term.
6-year term.
I was appointed. There's nine of us that are appointed by the governor that each have a region statewide, pied up, like almost, 10 counties apiece, 95 counties in the state roughly. And then there's 4 that are appointed by the House and the Senate, 2 each, and they serve a 4-year term.
Awesome. So what's one of the things that stood out in your year and a half that you've enjoyed, or maybe you want to reflect on? There's a lot that's going on, I guess.
Yeah, I think
so far
for us, this particular commission and years to come is the impact of CWD.
Right.
It's only been a year and 7 months since we had our first positive test.
Yeah.
In late 2018, and what's happened from that day till today, and what's continued to happen, and what will need to be done to help. It's not curable, but you've got to stop it. You've got to contain it. It's like a fire.
Right.
Try to keep it in an area and not let it spread. So that's really, we spent a lot of time on CWD. We put in the CWD zone. Mm-hmm. We put in, we're buying a big incinerator, hiring some new manpower to help with that.
Right.
Just the whole. Everything. It's a new day every day, trying to learn about the whole disease and what's going on.
Yeah, that first year it was definitely all hands on deck. From all parts of the state, we had personnel coming in and working those weekends at check stations, and it was pretty amazing to see.
Even though it's a disease that's been around for a long time out west, it was for us, we had to think it was coming, but then all of a sudden there it is, and it's like you're prepared, but you're really not prepared because now it's real, it's live.
There was a lot of work going on to keep Tennessee CWD free, and plans and preparing, and you're never really prepared for something like that, I don't think, when it hits. But.
Yeah, and then the other, these are issues and you have to deal with. It's not just season setting and, license fees or whatever, but we also have the Asian carp issue, which is as big an issue, and you're trying to contain it, and you're trying to you can eradicate it. It's not something that but it's just so many acres of water that we deal with, and then you got the other states that are connected to us that that's where a lot of it's coming through the Mississippi River and a
lot of that we don't control. So.
Correct. That's why you're going to the national level, you're putting in the barriers at the locks and the gates and trying to figure that out. Now we've got one put in, and it's built in Great Britain, and they can't get over here to service it because of the pandemic. So there's always something that triggers into the operation.
Hey, let's step back and find out, how'd you get bit by this bug? How'd you get your outdoors experience early on?
Well, my family, I'm a descendant of the H.G. Hill family, and Mr. Hill Sr. loved to fish, and he had a place up in Warren County, Rock Island, Tennessee. It's called Great Falls Reservoir. It's the Caney Fork River and the Collins that they come together in the Great Falls Dam.
Oh, neat.
And he bought a place up there in the early 1920s, and so I was born in 57, so my mother grew up going up there, and we started going up there. And, of course, my first introduction to the outdoors was more on the water sports, boating and water skiing and inner tubing and all that stuff. But you did fish a little bit, but not nearly as much as when you got a little bit older.
Sure.
So I actually learned how to ski before I learned how to swim.
There you go.
Yeah, we had an old Chris Craft. We still have it. It's a 56 Chris Craft, the old wood Chris Craft that had just the lever on the floor and the ivory steering wheel. It's a really cool old boat.
I bet it's good shape too.
Yeah. It's sitting in the garage. It's fully restored, ready to go.
Oh,
you have to either put them in the water or take them out, because they have to. The water has to get in or they'll sink, because they have to swell. The teak has to swell.
Sure.
To lock it in. It's not like a glass boat.
Huh. Wow. So have you had it out at all since you've had it restored?
No, we hadn't. It's my uncle's. He's kind of claimed it, and so he's got it in his garage.
Well, you have to sneak it out one day.
Yeah. I like the glass boats. They're a little bit easier to maintain. That's kind of where the bug started, really back then, and just what a great way to grow up, water skiing and swimming and, hanging out at the lake and stuff. So that's where we all got started. And this was, before, that area really got popular. There wasn't a whole lot there was just this one stretch of families that had places right there by the dam.
Yeah, that's a really pretty area.
Oh,
there.
It's just gorgeous. Behind the dam, and which becomes Center Hill, and all the hikes back in there, and there's walleye. There's now they've discovered muskie all over the Collins River behind the dam, and a lot of popularity going up there muskie fishing.
I mean, a lot of folks come down from up north to fish our muskie waters when they can't fish.
Well, they can't get to Canada right now, so there you go. Walleye. Jimmy Holt did a show behind the dam for years. There's a state park, Rock Island State Park, is right there as well.
Yep, awesome. You mentioned H.G. Hill. Tell us about that.
Well,
I see the sign here on the barn.
Yeah, we found that at an antique store. My children gave it to me for my birthday. But, I'm fourth generation of the H.G. Hill family, and we were in the grocery business for 99 years, and then we sort of morphed into the real estate business. We sold the grocery operation, and so we kept a lot of the old, memorabilia from the stores. This is our 125th year.
Wow.
In operation. We're, primarily real estate development now.
Okay.
I wish we were in the grocery business now. As good as grocery business is right now during the pandemic. I wish we were in the grocery business.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite thing to do outdoors? You mentioned growing up, skiing and boating and things like that. But if you had your choice, I mean, you got your run of the meal here with the deer and turkey. But what's your favorite thing to do?
Well, I love to turkey hunt. I'd rather turkey hunt than anything. But quite honestly, it's just there's so much to do on a farm. Especially if you're what we call weekend warriors, and you come out here and you're, cutting a tree down or bush hogging, which we really cut way back on this year because we're trying to, do the best practices of.
Well, if you watch one of our earlier shows,
I have not. My bush hog is chained to the fence down there. Nobody's allowed to bush hog till
recreational bush hogging.
August 15th. But I'm just the ultimate piddler. My wife loves to garden and I love to piddle, and so I'm planting a lot of new trees where we built the house and. Just nurturing, filling up bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, feeders for the wildlife in the off season. Fishing in the creek. I'm just always kind of doing something to do. I'm the world's greatest piddler.
Well, there's not. It's not only the commission's job to help with game animals and some of the nuisance things that we're dealing with, but non-game is a part of that too. You mentioned feeding birds.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Things. We've got a list of animals that we have to protect. It's non-game as well.
I've put out at least 50 bluebird boxes all over the farm. And, then in the wintertime, you clean them out and get ready for the spring and, just watch had a really good farm cat down here that was enjoying eating my bluebirds. So I had to take him back to Nashville because he was eating all my bluebirds.
Oh, man.
We'd come in, we'd
Those
show
quick
up.
meals coming out of the bird.
Yeah, we'd show up and he'd be sitting on top of the bluebird box. And I said, wait a minute, Charlie, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. But he went, we joke, he went from the hay bale to the Oriental. So he's in Nashville right now, living the life. He's a great old cat, but he's a hunting machine.
Yeah. Well, they're good on mice, right? But not so much the birds.
Well, the problem in Nashville, he brings them in the house, and then they get away, and they fall down in the ductwork, and then we got. It's just, it's great that he captures them, but you're supposed to either eat them or discard them and not let them run loose and get in the ductwork.
Brings them in to play with them.
Yeah, he gets tired. After you go, I'm gonna let you go. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. So you said you like to be outdoors and not only hunt and fish, but mess around with the trees and the birds and things like that. What else do you like to get into? I mean, it's I'm sure this fishing on this pond is so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Especially with my grandkids. We were jumping off the dock this weekend, and they got a big kick out of Big Daddy jumping off the dock. But the grandkids, I've got a four-seater Kubota diesel in the garage, and the grandkids call it, let's go on an adventure. Mm-hmm. Come on, Big Daddy, let's go on an adventure. So we'll just take off, and we'll, go do something. We'll look for deer sheds, or we'll go to a freshly plowed field and look for arrowheads, or we'll go wade in the creek, and the dog loves to swim, and we'll go fish a little bit. Just, whatever kind of, go for a picnic, and Yeah, they're 6 and 3. So as they get older, maybe we'll start doing some canoe trips.
That's awesome that you're passing on that legacy, the tradition of hunting and fishing to your grandkids, and that's, I think, something that's really happened a lot this year. Folks are getting outdoors more.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's the turkey numbers were up, and people are buying hunting and fishing licenses, and people are getting out there.
Boats, you can't buy a boat. I mean, if you ask Earl about boats, he's got orders out till June of next year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my little granddaughter, she's pretty. I don't know what the right adjective is, but so we're fishing down in the creek one day, and I got a little creek mint on. She's got a little Mickey Mouse pole, and the line starts bobbing, and I said, "Set the hook." She sets the hook, and I said, "You got a fish on. You got a fish on." She got mad and threw the pole in the water, and here goes the pole. I said, "Wait a minute, that's not what you're supposed to do." She didn't want the fish on her pole. It was her private pole. She didn't quite understand she's supposed to pull the fish in, so it was hilarious. We laugh about that a lot.
That's funny. Those are some memories.
Yeah.
When she gets older, that'll be a funny story to tell.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I lost my train of thought there.
I think a lot of families have kind of discovered it on their own too. Even if they didn't grow up doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, you can't go many places, even in Nashville, and see kayaks racked up on the top of a car. Headed to the
bikes, kayaks, boats, big boats, little boats, you name it. It's the Caney Fork, all these streams.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll see them, floating by here in kayaks. And it's great, and it's great that they're, not only it's back to creating these legacies for the youth, but you're also creating exercise and the outdoors and fresh air and vitamin D and instead of sitting behind a TV screen playing a computer game or something,
or worried about the news and the COVID and everything
just turn it off, and that's what's great about it. Nighttime you go look for lightning bugs, or you go, I found a really cool bird nest that the kids just thought it was great, and so anything outdoors, it's not all about catching and shooting. It's all about just the whole gamut of the outdoors.
Right, and Jason kind of brought it up a little bit ago. That the agency isn't all about just hunting and fishing. I mean, there's a lot to managing all the wildlife in Tennessee.
It's unbelievable.
And you were talking about the eagles that you got kind of on the property.
I bought a buddy of mine down here to deer hunt one time, and we pulled up, and we were going to hunt that afternoon, spend the night, and hunt the next morning. And I just caught him. He was just standing there frozen, and I said, "Steve, what's wrong?" He says, "That's a bald eagle." I said, "Yeah, that's a bald eagle." He said, "I've never seen a bald eagle." I said, "Well, there you go."
Wow.
So,
man, that's great.
Yeah, and that the bald eagles in this area are a byproduct of a TWRA nest that they built on the Cumberland River years ago at Billy Coble's farm.
Sure.
And because from here to Nashville is 15 miles as the crow flies, so as we get territorial and they start expanding out.
Yeah.
I've never found a nest, but I would love to find their nest. It's somewhere on the creek.
Yeah.
And it's great that, a species like that is taken off the endangered species list because of that kind of work, And,
oh, yeah. I was talking about my backflow field, so my local plumber that had his backhoe, and I came down here, and he was sitting on the backhoe, and he was just frozen looking up. And "Steve, what you doing?" He says, "Look, man, there's 7 bald eagles flying around," because it was wintertime and all the tilapia in the pond had died, and they were ready for dinner. They were just coming in to get dinner.
Wow. Not far from here in Ashland City area, we released an eagle. There was an eagle released.
Oh, yeah.
In honor of Mr. Hatcher.
That's right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was a cool event. So that wasn't far from here. And I'm sure that's a family.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen. They're producing out. We've seen juveniles.
Yeah.
You see obviously the dominant gold, bald eagle with the white head and the white tail, but we've seen juveniles.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
awesome.
They're being very, they're growing. They're growing. They're being productive and producing some offspring.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not many people could say they see that on their property.
Right.
So that's awesome. Yeah. One thing that bringing up a Hatcher made me think of the foundation and the work that the foundation does. And you mentioned, and I think the auction is over, but the governor's one shot didn't get to happen this year.
Yeah, it was really tragic that the pandemic kind of canceled that out, and that's a big part of the. I know it's our biggest fundraiser for the foundation, and they do so much for the agency.
They sure do.
And I talked to Johnny the other day, and it was just a great success.
Yeah.
Because they sent it out to much more people than just the people that were physically at the one shot, which is 600 or 700 people. I think he sent out the online auction catalog to 20,000 people. So I've got friends of mine in Mississippi that are bidding on stuff.
Yeah. So along with that auction and the raffle and stuff with the elk and the other packages that were available, I mean the foundation does a lot for us as agency, and you know that. And Earl, we went and visited with him last week. He was one of the founding members of the foundation.
Absolutely.
And
it's really how I got really engaged with TWRA is through the foundation, and started going to one shot, and then started going to some dinners, wild game dinners, and really got to know Ed Carter and Johnny and Joey, and just really seeing all the people. And I don't know that I really remember a lot of the commissioners participating, but they were probably there, and I just didn't know them. But it's a good group. Statewide, still, you got the different regions, and a good friend of mine was president for a couple of years, and from Memphis, and going to the one shot and seeing that grow and what they do for the agency.
It's amazing what they accomplish with the small staff they have.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's really wild.
Well, you better get out of the way of Johnny Allred. He's energized our money with NICADs that never run out of juice.
Right, you're right. And then he still manages to have time to go hunting.
Oh.
He'll show me pictures.
I know.
When do you have time to do this, Johnny?
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. He sure is. So one thing I want you to talk about, if you don't mind, what's one of your favorite hunting trips or fishing trips? One of the most memorable moments out in the outdoors. It may be early skiing trips or something, but what's one thing that stands out that you never forget?
There are so many great stories when you do this. For hunting and fishing, and you create your friendships, and the annual trips to Canada, or annual trips to Dale Holla, or whatever you're doing, or opening day of deer season.
You can't do it alone. There's always going to be a group of guys.
Well, it's no fun to do it alone.
You got to pass it on.
Yeah, there's no fun to do it alone. And what I think is really the biggest enjoyment out of the whole gamut of the sport of hunting and fishing is the preparation.
Yeah.
Like creating the food plots, and then here come the wildlife to the food plots, and you getting ready to go fishing. You have to get all your new line on. You got to buy 100 new lures that you already got the 100 that are still in the closet from last year.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Just the preparation, and getting your plane tickets, or deciding where we're going to meet to go. And those are the memories. And then of course you always remember that that one big fish, or that I shot a beautiful bull moose in Canada, which was a great trip.
Neat.
And the fishing outfitter we use in Canada, we one year we went beaver trapping for a week.
Wow.
And he it was kind of like the old Huck Finn helped paint the fence, but he said, "Well, you're gonna pay me to take you beaver trapping, so you do all the work, and I got to do it anyway." And I said, "Well, I got this figured out." So
he's probably charging somebody.
He charged us. He charged us, yeah, but he had to do it because if you don't in that part of Canada, if you didn't work your lines and catch so many beavers, you lost them.
Oh, okay.
Because they wanted you to trap the beavers. Because if you had an overpopulation, it would screw up the ecosystem and the water. And anyway, he's like, "Wait a minute, we're paying you to do this?" But we had a big time, and the guy I went with, a buddy of mine, one of my fishing buddies, Johnny Phipps, he actually purchased a lot of the pelts and had a jacket made for his wife, which is
neat.
very memorable.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds like some fun trips.
Oh yeah, we had some fun times. One of my best memories, we have a group that we were at the boat show, early 80s, and none of us had kids, and we walking around all the booths, and we saw this place, in Canada. Of course, they had all the big fish, and it all looked like everybody's going to catch the big trophies and stuff. And so we kind of did some due diligence and found out who the good outfitters were, and went to Canada, and so we same place every year. It was great. You start to understand the people and the lakes, and so one year there was 4 of us coming back from fishing one day, and we'd always go out to these small lakes, and they'd take us in seaplanes, which were very remote, and you'd have to, carry the motors in, and it was a little more work, and we were younger, and we could handle it, but we had a little accident in the seaplane, and everybody was fine, and so we turned around. There were 4 of us, and they said, all right, boys, blood brothers, nobody tell their wives, because they'll never let us come back, right? So this one guy, he couldn't keep a secret if he had to. Man. That night, we're at the cabin, we had dinner, and nobody had a scratch on them. And so one of the people from the camp came down and said, there's only one phone up at the main lodge. Said, got an emergency phone call for Johnny. And he goes in and says, his wife was on the phone, because she'd heard from the other wife that we'd had a plane crash. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, who? So we laugh about that to this day. But when we came to a stop, he never got off the water. He lost directional control on takeoff. It was a crosswind, and probably really shouldn't have been, attempting the takeoff. But we was, they got a schedule and they're running late, so we ended up in the trees, and that prop's going up in the trees. We were the world's largest weed eater, and so I was in the right seat, co-pilot seat, and the pilot was in the left seat, and we come to a stop, and I'm looking out the window, and there's fuel leaking out of the wings, and he says, all right, everybody just stay put. And I said, buddy, I'm out of here. So I go back to the back of the plane. My eyes about this big around. Everybody follows me around. We jump in the water and swim away from the airplane. I thought it was going to catch on fire. I didn't know. It was pretty funny.
I'd say that is one adventure that sticks out.
That's a memory that.
So did you ever get to go back?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm a seaplane pilot, so I owned a seaplane. So
there you go.
We wouldn't have had that problem had I been flying.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, this has been fun. I appreciate you having us out at your place.
No problem. It's great.
It's great to just talk with you and learn about your passions and just
thanks for all you do too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all y'all do. I mean, it's just.
I've heard they're talking about doubling the pay for a commissioner.
Yeah, it is. They
might as well triple it, I guess.
Well, we're worried about the tax implications, so we might have to just stick with doubling for right now.
For everybody listening, it's zero pay.
Yeah,
we
love it. Great volunteers.
Yeah, we love it. It's a great honor. And I told the governor when he called me, I can remember it like it was yesterday, driving down the interstate, and I saw it come up on the caller ID. Because the governor and I were friends before. We served on the YMCA board together, and he does business. Our companies did business, and I saw it come up, and I kind of thought it was coming, but you just don't know till you get the call, And it was great. It's a great honor. It's awesome. Exciting.
Awesome. Well, Jimmy, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Don, thanks for co-hosting.
You bet.
No.
You bet.
Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week.